Three, two, one. Hello. Hello, all. Welcome to my podcast that I've just started right now. It's good to be here. It's a bit weird talking to a mic and not talking to anybody. What is this? Essentially, I thought, while it's 2023, I have a lot of free time now since I have left the Squag group. Well, I haven't left it, but I'm not doing the news anymore. And I thought it'd be a nice, like, somewhat therapeutic way of, saying. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. But yeah, I thought it would be a good idea to start a podcast. I thought it would be something interesting to do. So welcome. Now I do have to apologize for all the all the lack of effects or anything that's going on the screen right now. It's mostly to listen at the moment, but don't worry, the quality of the podcast will improve later on. And so I just want to spend this episode on what's to come and like what do I plan to do with this. So essentially I thought this would just be a nice way to chill out, hang out, and talk about random stuff that's going around the world, talk about my life personally, like things that I'm doing when it comes to like visual effects and editing and stuff like that. I also eventually want to start like, getting people involved with it. So having guests on the show and also maybe potentially starting doing Twitter questions and answering people's questions and all that. And yeah, it's the laziest form of podcasting I can do, and podcasting is the laziest form of entertainment that somebody can do. So I thought this was perfect for me because I'm incredibly lazy. I wouldn't even say I'm lazy. I am just incredibly. I've already forgotten the word for it, but that's my brain right now. So yeah, that's the New Vibes podcast. It's gonna be very simple, very basic, and I'm just gonna do it. Like nobody needs to watch it, and it's just gonna like expand and get better, and people are gonna join, and maybe not. And yeah, I just want to talk into a microphone for an hour. That is literally my only goal here. So yeah, and welcome to the podcast. So I thought we could start off by let's talk about 2022 as it's the first week. The first week has gone by in 2023, and I want to talk about 2022 because what a year that was. We had a lot happen in 2022, and I thought it was a good idea. I think we've done this in the last 2 years now, at least the last 2 years that I've worked on. We did in the December Sir Swag video, we did the like yearly roundup, and I was surprised how much stuff happened in science. Normally there's like a lot of things. Like here's the thing, I was trying to find a lot of good things that happened because I feel like news is very negative in general, and yeah, there's a lot of bad things we should probably point out that's happening in the world. But I was like, was something good? Did anything good happen? And it seemed that the only good things that happened this year or last year, sorry, were processes in science. So it was obviously James Webb was a massive deal this year, and just that was great. There was innovations in fusion technology that recently happened, which was another great thing that occurred. Scientific developments in general. Just I was looking up lists of things that happened, like what all was good that happened this year, and all the lists just were scientific innovations. So, for example, there was actually a massive innovation in essentially making lab-made meat, and it was actually, I don't remember which government it was. I think I had a shot of it in the intro, but essentially the whole idea was that I think some countries weren't happy with like the quality, not quality, but like we didn't know if the lab made meat was healthy or not, and I think it's just now been approved to be sold, and so it's healthy now. which is pretty impressive. That could change a lot of things. Another thing was that a bunch of medical technologies, such as I think there was a medication or some sort of process or therapy that helped people walk or move their limbs again, which was a massive thing. Prosthetic arms have been somewhat upgraded and they're better than ever. Another one was there has been massive moves with HIV medication and uh, in general, uh, just medication in general. There was another one for Alzheimer's, which is still like there's been a lot of not necessarily critics of it, but people going, okay. It's like the fusion thing. It's like, wait a minute, like yeah, great, but like how far have we got to go with this? But overall, scientifically, ooh, my doorbell rang. 1 second. Apologize for that. I didn't expect the doorbell to go off, and then that's not a great start for the podcast. So I've kind of lost my trail of thought here. Oh no, I was talking about scientific discoveries and things like that. Yeah, so it's been a good year in general. I think space had a big year. Um, and I thought for a moment that the Perseverance rover was this year, so I was trying to find footage for that for a while, and then I was like, oh wait, no, that was 2021, which made me feel old. Um, I think we've just had an interesting year. I think when it comes down to politics and how the world is going, obviously it can seem dark at the moment. We're in a really interesting and fragile moment in history, and I think that the best way, like I talked to my dad about this because my dad grew up in the 60s and like he's lived through the majority of the last half of the 20th century. And I asked him, like, were there times where you guys thought it was the end, or were there like years where you're like, oh my god, there's so much bad stuff going on? And my dad was kind of like, um, we grew up in a time. Well, an adult. He was about my age at a time where the Soviet Union was constantly threatening the UK, saying that like we could nuke your tiny country any day now, sort of thing. And people just kept keep calm and carry on. And I just think that we have to look at the positives of the what's going on in the world right now. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's important to make people aware of the negatives that are happening, but sorry, but we it's important to if you were in a constant state of thinking about the negatives that are going on around the world, you'll drive yourself nuts. And I've seen a lot of people in the comment section ask, like, how do you guys deal with just handling negative news stories? And I mean, that's why we throw in a bit of comedy into it. um I mean, in the UK, and I imagine it's like this in Australia as well, is we tend to use comedy as a form of escapism from things that are happening in the world that are not so great. And sure, it's easy for us to do that, but it's important for mental health reasons to kind of think about the positives. And I think that a lot of things happened that were good this year. And because I'm somebody who's very passionate about space and technology, I thought this year was great on that front. So I consider that a big W. Uh, but yeah, I don't want to make this a downer podcast. Obviously, I want to make people laugh and smile, and so yeah, we can talk about anything. And then this is like a first space podcast, so this is like the foundation. I'm setting up something here, and we have to we have to figure out things to talk about if people are into certain topics of me talking about stuff. Like if people want to know more about me, then sure thing. But I also want to talk about what's happening in the world in a comedic sense. I don't want this to be a serious podcast. I don't want to be talking about politics all day. It's not really my personality trait. I don't really have a plan this year. I've started a keto diet, which has been interesting for a week. It was like New Year's resolution, and I only have to do it for 3 months, so it's not like I have to do it for the entire year because it's not easy. Um, if you don't know what keto is, it's essentially kicking out carbs from your diet. Not necessarily all carbs, but like a minimum of like I think it's 20 to 50 grams of carbs. Um, because you essentially your carb when you're burning fat, or sorry, when you're burning stuff in the gym, when you're working out, you're burning both carbs and fat, and it's not really efficient. So it's good to take out the carbs, and so you're just burning fat. So it's a very quick way to lose weight, and I've done it before, and it worked like a charm. So I'm planning to do that this year. It's not that I'm overweight or anything, um, but I am not exactly where like I'm in a position where I I feel like I could be better with my diets. And to be fair, with I was working on a job recently with the BBC, and it was a tricky job, and I didn't know uh when I would have the time to even like go and cook stuff or go out and buy things to go cook. So I was living off takeout for a while, but it's been a weekend. I found some alternatives. I found a shop which is really surprising around the area I live in, because we're not very like good with diets where I live, and we don't have a lot of restaurants that are attuned to veganism and stuff. But I found a shop that sells keto products, so that's been a big thing for me. I'm not this type of person like no, like when it comes to food, but it's just like a goal. Get off the carbs for it, stop eating bread for a bit. And then once I get to that point when I'm skinny again, once I've like taken away all the fat I've gained in the last like 8 months, then I can go back to being an unhealthy bastard. That is my goal. Um, yeah, but we, me and my family, we're having a good first month into the year. Healthy, because we kind of went nuts in the last couple of days. I was sick during New Year's. Um, I was I had to book 5 days off of work, obviously, because to work on the swag video. But I was sick the majority of it, so I didn't really have a great Christmas. When I get sick, so when I have like a basic cold or a virus or anything like that, my ear uh goes completely deaf. My right ear like goes completely deaf. I can't hear a single thing out of it, and I've checked with doctors so many times throughout the years, and they keep saying, "Oh, you keep touching your ear. You can't keep messing with it." I'm like, "No, this is the problem. If I was messing with it, I'd do like the Drake gif where he's like on the laptop and he's like, "Oh yeah, of course." Like, no, I don't touch my ear. I woke up one morning, it's deaf. It's gone. So I went to the doctor, and I actually I've been to like 7 doctors about my ear. This is the first doctor in my life where the doctor's gone, "Oh, I know, I see the issue." Essentially, what it was is that every time I get sick, I have an ear infection, and the infection just gets inflamed when I get sick, and no medication has been given to me to fully convert this infection. But apparently now it's gone. He checked it the other day, and he said it's finally clean. So I was really really happy. He actually saw my medical records for my ear, and they were like, "What the?" He was like, "What? What are they giving you? Like, what is this?" He's like, "This is poor practice of being a doctor." So he was really good. So yeah, I'm glad that's already something that's been sorted out. My first couple days of the year, my ear's been fixed, which is um, a great thing. Probably wondering why people com- complain so much about the audio levels in the news videos. There's your excuse. Well, my excuse is my ears suck. But no, that was good. Um, I wanted to talk about like different topics maybe happening in the week. Like, you see those meanwhile sections of the news videos. I'd love to talk about stories like that, and I will eventually. But I just it's been one week into the month, and well, into the year, sorry, and not a lot has really happened. From what I can tell, I just saw a bunch of news stories. I saw that Wednesday from Netflix is getting a season 2, which is interesting because I haven't watched it yet. I should. Don't have a lot of time for Netflix, to be honest. Um, I saw North Korea is starting the year off pretty well. Uh, killing a bunch of their politicians and launching missiles. You know, North Korea being North Korea, they do what they do best. Just to do what they do like twice. Um, Cristiano Ronaldo is moved to a Saudi team. I saw one of his speeches. He when they were talking about his transfer, he said South Africa, and I do truly think that he didn't realize what country he was going to. So yeah, he's probably gonna have an interest. I mean, I just saw recently that like his because he's not married, that his they're gonna like allow him to be with his girlfriend because in Middle Eastern countries or like Islamic countries, um, they won't allow people who aren't married to live with each other and have a relationship. So that was probably like the Saudis going shit. We, like I don't know how this relationship started or like who wanted this in Saudi, but um, we obviously had the World Cup, which was really interesting to see. My team England did well. Obviously, couldn't get through to the semis, but it's that's fine. It is what it is. Now we couldn't beat France, obviously not. Their team was just too good. Though I did predict that I thought France was gonna win in the first place, but I did have Argentina as like my third guess. Um, yeah. So that was a good event that happened the end of last year. Good football as well because like the people what made people who don't watch the World Cup might not know is the reason why I would say it was some of the best football I've seen in a World Cup is because a lot of the times countries are playing in the summer. The World Cup normally happens in the summer, and it's kind of a problem because it's right when teams finish their seasons, their local team seasons, and so they're a bit exhausted. They're a bit tired. They've just done a whole full season, and now they have to play one of the biggest tournaments in the world. So when they normally start the World Cup, they're slow. Most of them are injured. Like it's never really that good football. While this was right in the first couple of weeks. It's been a month and a bit. Not a month and a bit. Sorry, I'm being stupid. It's been a few months since the start of the season, so the players are still in their prime, and so they were playing like essentially Premier League football, which was amazing, and I loved it. I got to see a few games as well. What else happened? I went to see Avatar 2 on but just before Christmas. And if I'm honest, it was meh. It was all right. The thing is, I'm pretty easy to impress when it comes to movies. So this is how I ranked it. I rank it that the first hour was cool. I like the first hour. The humans. I don't get any spoilers to the plot, but you obviously, if you watch the trailers or anything, you know the humans are coming back. So with the whole process of the humans coming back and being on Pandora again is really cool. I really enjoyed those segments, and I give the first hour of the movie like a 8 out of 10. I was invested for the first hour. The third act killed my investment, so that second act. Sorry, apologies. Killed my investment so much that the third act just kind of seemed dumb to me and didn't have any significant importance. And there's a very important event that happens right at the end of the movie, which completely not ruins, it completely puts the characters in their most vulnerable state of mind. And I thought that could have been so much more powerful if they just invested more of the time on the characters that should be related to that event, and instead they were focusing on other stuff which I really had no interest in. So I always said, like I said, but the first hour is like an 8 out of 10. The second hour was like a 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. I mean, the last act was probably a 6 out of 10. And if they just had the second act be a 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10, I would have been happy with the movie. It was just so long. It's just too long for it to. I was more interested in what the humans were doing, if I'm completely honest. Like, why are the humans back? Well, obviously they're back for a reason, like for these obvious reasons. Like, you don't just kick off $1 trillion investment. They've spent like 20 years on this planet trying to get all its minerals and stuff, and they spent trillions of dollars on it. What, they're just gonna like, well, we tried, guys. No, it's Pandora's a one on a, galaxy planet. Probably not a galaxy, but you know what I mean. Like, it's not every day you find a planet right next door to you. It's because it's in Alpha Centauri, so it's the closest star system. It's not every day that you find a planet that's habitable, has life on it. You're gonna want to take advantage of that. So when the humans come back, it's like, oh, they're not just coming back to get revenge. They are back to stay. They have made it they have made it clear that they are not leaving. So I like that. I did enjoy that a lot. But yeah, overall, I'd give it like maybe a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. But I'm a big fan of Avatar's world building, like the universe itself. It's based in. I'm a huge fan of the movies. I wouldn't say are like amazing. They're nothing special, but like the world building, the universe building. I remember watching this documentary about the music in Avatar, and they were so like trying to get this to be like so like different when it comes to the universe building that they were trying to make like their own type of music for the Na'vi. So like the music would be something that no one in the audience would have ever heard before, like a complete new form of music. And when they tried to do it, it sounded horrible. It sucked. So they completely stopped it during that and just used kind of like Native American inspired music, which is fine. Yeah, like it does what it needs to do. Music is powerful to carry the plot over and stuff. And but it's just like the whole they set up their own language system. The book that they have, like the guide to being a Na'vi or whatever book, is apparently a book you can buy in real life, I think, which is pretty nuts. And it's just like the whole ecosystems and the evolution of the creatures and like the biodiversity. And I've seen recently that the James Cameron said the third film is going to see the dark parts of the Na'vi, which I think is great because when you're discussing, my problem with the films is too black and white at the moment. Like there's obviously good guys and obviously bad guys, where no war in history has really been, maybe World War II. But you have to remember there were Germans in the army who were just there because either they were forced to, or they were misled, or war is never black and white. It's mostly very dirty shades of gray. Yeah. But so I want to see some form of like in the first one they did that the humans, where like not all the humans were pro human colonization of the place, but they just had they're into the science and stuff. But also you can't expect the Na'vi to be all these like perfect heroes. These like they're all like Jesus. I guarantee you there are bad Na'vi out there, and I think the next film will explore that bit more in depth, which I think would be great. Or like even like the Na'vi's being like, look, we can't beat the humans, but we might as well cooperate with them, because like we rather live than just get like eradicated from history. So I expect that to be a plot point in the next film. I hope, at least. But yeah, the VFX were great as well. Like, so I really, and anything with good VFX for me is like, it's like ecstasy for me. Yeah. So do I have any predictions for what will happen in 2023? I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. But I believe I might be wrong, and I might have to look. I've got my handy Google device, which is also my computer, with me, so I can like look. I know you can probably hear the clicking, which is annoying. I know, but I kind of have to do like essentially I have to do the Jamie's job on Joe Rogan, and yeah, I have to look up stuff to confirm that I'm right or wrong about something. But I believe what I'm excited for this year is, this is more not necessarily politics, but just interesting things that are gonna that might happen. And if I'm correct, I'm just checking, we might get a new country this year and lose 3 countries at the same time. And I believe, is it happening this year? Yes, I think it is. Just let me check. It's it's happened already, but I think it's officially happening. Yeah, we might be getting a new country called the East African Federation, which is a united sovereign state that integrates the East African country, even though it goes from East to West Africa, but like it involves it Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. However, a draft constitution for the Confederation was set to be written by the end of 2021, with its implementation by 2023. It's not yet been established. Many steps still have to, go there. The 7 nations united of the East African community are marred with political corruption, and overpowering states hindered their incompatibilities in terms of language, ethnic divisions, etc. The region hopes to overcome these barriers and reap the economic benefits of the Union, and could offer to this immense growth in population. So yeah, it's been a work in progress for nearly 40 years. If it became a thing, it would be the most populous region in Africa. So from my understanding, is it a country? I think it would be a country. That's what I heard from the first time I heard it. It's got its own flag. Yeah, it's got its own flag and stuff, but hopefully it turns out to be a thing. I personally don't think Congo is going to be a good member, but you got all these really successful African nations all banding together. It's really just a corruption problem they're gonna have. But it's basically supposed to be an economic powerhouse of Africa, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with that. No, not the UAE, the EAU. East African Union. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now so they're saying here it's like an EU essentially, but Africa already has an EU, the African Union. I don't know why somebody said to me it was going to be a. Okay, wait, it says here. The EAC's ultimate goal is a full federation of the 7 members. There we go. That would install a single central government with a common foreign and secretary policies. Yeah, so they want to become a country. On the way toward this goal, the EAC plans to establish a confederation in 2023 that would begin unifying foreign and security policies without yet forming a central government body, and to form a monetary union with a single currency by 2024. Oh man, this is gonna be so cool. This is like my dream Koi 4 game. That's amazing. So, but yeah, no, that's great. I think I'm gonna cool it for today. It's been a good 30 minutes talking about random stuff. These will be longer. And we're gonna have more interesting topics to talk about. Obviously, it's the first week of the year. It's not a lot going on. Normally, I was gonna say, normally in this time of year, there's always a threat of nuclear war. Like, do you notice that like North Korean stories pop off in the beginning of the year? Like North Korea is like every time that starts, it's the start of the year, they're like full on like we gotta like push ourselves onto the news. But yeah, we're gonna have an interesting year. We're gonna see a lot of stuff, and I'm really hoping for the best for all of you. And I hope you ask the girl you want out this year, or you get the job that you've been wanting, or you graduate. Good luck on all your exams. You know, I wish the best for all of you, and I hope we can have a great year together. So, yeah, I will catch you all later. Peace.